On today's recipe video, I'm going to be making my sweet heat, whole food, plant-based, vegan pizza. I hope you can stick around and see exactly how it's made. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is get our crust started. Now, to make a great pizza crust, we're just going to need a few simple ingredients, and that is I have 2 cups of a whole wheat flour. We have 1 teaspoon of a fast action yeast, 1 teaspoon of maple syrup to get that yeast nice and activated, and then we have 3/4 of a cup to 1 cup of warm water. Now, you do not have to be super particular about the temperature of the water. I just like to make sure that it's warm to touch, but it's not so hot or so warm that I have to pull my finger out, because then that is going to go ahead and hurt the yeast. So really simple, we're going to just go ahead, add in our flour, add in our yeast. We've got our maple syrup. Now, you can use any sweetener that you like. I like maple syrup as a good whole food plant-based sweetener here. And then we have our water. Now, I am going to go ahead and add in about 3/4 of that 3/4 of a cup of water, and then we're going to go ahead and mix it until it's combined, and then a little bit further. Now, as we're mixing, we just want to make sure we get it all combined well. Should be a simple recipe. Now, I can tell I'm going to need the rest of my water. Add that in. You can use a spoon, a spatula to do this and get it to that point where it's come together. But if you know me, you know I like to get my hands dirty. So I'm going to go in and combine it with my hands. Now, I would say if this was, say, a all white flour dough, then this would probably be where we go ahead and move to the next step. But since we're using a whole wheat dough, I'm going to go ahead and knead it a little bit more, because I really want to get those fibers, or not the fibers, but that gluten activated. And then we're also going to hopefully get that yeast a little bit more moving in there. So I'm going to knead it for just around a minute or so. All right, it's come together. It's softened up a good amount. Now, we're going to go ahead and do a few things. You can choose one of these. Now, if you are wanting this the quickest way, there's 2 options. First, you can throw it in our bowl. We can cover that with either a towel or some plastic wrap. Put that in a warm spot for around 1.5 to 2 hours, and that's going to allow that gluten to come together and this dough to rise a good amount. You can also use the quickest method, which is using the Instant Pot. Now, I like using the Instant Pot with a lot of my breads in the first rise, and with pizza dough, it's no exception. But we can go ahead and put this in the Instant Pot at the yogurt setting, if you have a yogurt setting, and we're going to let that go for around 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. And lastly, if you are wanting this to take the longest, say you're making this way ahead of time, you made a big batch of it, this can go in the fridge covered for 2 hours to overnight. Really, the longer you let it go, the more that yeast and that flavor is going to develop. But for our purposes, for a great pizza dough, either of those 3 options are going to work. For me, I'm going to take this over to my Instant Pot, get it going at the yogurt setting for around 30 minutes. And in the meantime, we're going to get started with our sauce, and then we'll get the oven heated up, and we'll get moving on. So I'm going to go get this dough in the Instant Pot, and then I'll see you guys in just a second. All right, as I mentioned before, I went ahead and let the dough rise and prove in the Instant Pot. Now, one thing I do is I always just put some parchment paper down, and then you can see it's risen quite a bit. We're not looking for a huge rise, we're just wanting that to go ahead Get a little bit bigger, let that gluten develop a bit, and this is perfect. Now I am going to go ahead, and I've got some flour here, and I'm just going to flour my surface, whatever surface you're using. We do not want this dough to stick everywhere. Now for this pizza crust, I'm going to go ahead and just use half of the dough. Now you can set the other half aside. You can go ahead and put that in the fridge. You can even just put that in the freezer. Pull it out and let it soften. Let it get to room temperature, and you can use it just like any other pizza dough. So we're going to set this to the side. And we've got half of that dough, and we're going to set it down here. I like to roll that into a circle, and then we're going to just kind of form it back into itself. We want this dough, make sure that dough got nice and soft, and that looks good. Now we're going to just roll it towards a ball and set that down onto our mixture. Now I'm going to pat it down a bit. Add some flour. Now we've got our rolling pin here. Now I like to make sure the rolling pin is well floured because we do not want a sticky rolling pin. One of the worst things. So I'm just going to start by going back and forth. I'm going to turn my dough. Go back and forth the other way. Now this should make around a medium to large sized pizza. If you want to make a huge pizza, you can use all of your dough. If you want to make little personal sized pizzas, you can always go ahead and use a smaller amount. But just nice and gentle with it. I just want to get this dough shaped well. Keep it in a circle. You can tell that our dough has been proved nicely by the way that we're not getting much sticking. That tells me we did a good job. Let it prove, let that gluten develop a good amount, and we're able to just maneuver it around pretty easily. So I'm going to work this for just a second more. I will also mention that we have, again, the oven preheated to 450 degrees. It just went off a few seconds ago, so that is hot. We have the baking stone, or our pizza stone, already in there, so that's ready to go. And here is our pizza dough. So I like a nice thin crust. Just gonna put that on my hand there so we can see. It's nice and done. Now you can always roll in and make a little bit of a crust. All right. Now let's go ahead and add in our toppings. So I've got my pizza sauce here. We've got our pineapple and pickled peppers. And then I went ahead and got some of my sriracha out of the fridge. So first off, we're going to go ahead and get some pizza sauce on there. And we like a nice saucy pizza. If that is not the case for you, then you can always go ahead and add in a little bit less. I'm just going to get that throughout the pizza. Awesome. You can see those red pepper flakes in there, going to make it nice and spicy. And next we can go in and add in our pineapple pieces. Give our good sweet flavor to our pizza. And I will say the amounts are all arbitrary. If you want more pineapple, less pineapple, go ahead and make it your own. And then lastly, we have our pickled peppers. These are cherry hot peppers, very spicy. Again, Dr. Miller, my favorite. But you can use a banana pepper, a sweet banana pepper, spicy banana pepper, really however you want it. That looks great. And now our sriracha. Just going to give that a little bit of a shake. Start in the middle. Get a good round of it there. Around a teaspoon of that. Now, to get this into our oven, we're going to go ahead and just give it a little bit of a pull. All right, we've had our pizza in the oven for 8 minutes, and we're gonna pull it out and see how it looks. Smells fantastic. I've got my pizza stone here. I am just going to slide that off, put our pizza stone back in the oven, and let's go ahead and look at this pizza. Turned out great. Now we like a nice thin crust, but really however you like it, you can make it a thicker crust if you prefer, but we're gonna go ahead and just give this a good slice. I actually like to do this on the wood. All right. Now, I don't know how you like to dress your pizza, but ever since we've been vegan, we like to add some nutritional yeast. So I have some nutritional yeast. I'm just gonna dust on there. That looks delicious. We've got a great crust. I don't know if you can hear this, but a nice base, no soggy bottoms on this pizza. The crust rolled in together. Great, delicious. And I'm ready to give it a try. It's going to be hot. You know, preferably you'd let it sit out for a few minutes, but for your time, for my time, and for my stomach, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a bite. That is phenomenal. The sauce is great. It adds a nice consistency there. It's not too overpoweringly heat. Well, and the dogs are asking for some now, I think, but we're not gonna give them any. You've got that pineapple that adds a great sweet element to it. The crust it's a whole wheat crust, so it's gonna have that nutty flavor to it. A really great addition to any pizza if you ask me. And then we've got those cherry hot peppers that add a good amount of heat. They've got a little bit of bite there that you can taste for texture-wise, and really a great pizza. You know, this is gonna be enough for 2 to 4 people. You have enough crust and sauce really to make a nice large pizza, or 2 of a medium-sized pizza like we did today. I really hope you guys go ahead and give this one a try. Whether or not it's at your next pizza night, it's for you and the family, just for you, however you want to eat it. Really hope you give it a try. This is my sweet heat pizza. This recipe, all my past and future recipes can all be found at plantbasedgabriel.com. And be sure, if you're on Facebook, make sure you hit the like button and share the video. It helps your family and friends. It helps everybody get to see how easy, delicious, and healthfully you can eat a whole food plant-based vegan diet. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and that little bell to get notified whenever I post a new recipe video. Whether it's just a video, maybe it's me on the farm with the pups, or it's just something about talking about how I lost maybe 100 pounds on a vegan diet. Whatever it is, I hope you guys enjoy it. For this recipe video, I am Plant-Based Gabriel, hoping that I will see you very, very soon. And I'm gonna go ahead and try to leave a few pieces for Dr. Miller when she gets home.